But I am hearing Pereira's been locked in for this one. I keep hearing he was partying, he wasn't focused, he was injured going into the first fight.
The future is not Alex Pereira, the long reigning light heavyweight champion.
A recharged and refocused Alex Pereira is a scary, scary thing.
As the countdown for the UFC 320 event begins, the predictions and analysis roll in as the entire world waits with bated breath to see what happens next when two legends go head-to-head in the ring once again. According to Din Thomas, while people expect this time to be different for both fighters as they walk into the ring, he believes the opposite. There is a huge possibility for the match to take the same route as it had last time, as Din also pointed out the fact that Magomed Ankalaev had been fighting during the month of Ramadan, making him weaker than usual. Believing in the fighter's prowess and strength, Din predicted that Ankalaev would take the win once again.
I mean, they have been saying that, but I just don't know how much of a difference it is going to make, because you also have to take into account that for even Ankalaev fought him during Ramadan, so you also have to expect that maybe he wasn't even at 100%. Now, if you watch Ankalaev and Alexander Rakic, he was faster on his feet than he was against Pereira. So I'm expecting him to actually come out and move a little bit better, and then probably even wrestle a little bit more and offer a little bit more. I am expecting Ankalaev to win this fight. I expect him to win this fight. I do think it'll be a different fight, but I do expect him to still pull out the victory.
Moreover, Merab Dvalishvili shared his 2 cents on the two contenders going face-to-face in a few days, claiming that while Ankalaev is a great fighter, he plays it safe when he is with Pereira and doesn't indulge in grappling with his opponent. According to Merab, Alex is a dangerous fighter who can hit very hard if you engage in striking with him, and if it were him, he would not take the risk of going down that route.
Now I guess Islam Makhachev's there too, and then 170 who's, I mean, Kamaru Usman, we saw last fight, he showed good, 185, yeah, Khamzat Chimaev, and 185 is good. Plapi, Hernandez is good. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You have a great list so far.
So far it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. 205. 205, there is not many grapplers top of my head.
Ankalaev?
Yeah, Ankalaev is good, but he strikes, he likes strikes. He don't even try too much grappling with Pereira, because if I have to fight like Pereira, I have to wrestling with him because he hits hard. I don't wanna risk with him,
Furthermore, Brett Okamoto had his own take on this regard, claiming that there is a chance that we might see a new and improved Alex Pereira in the ring on the 4th of October. However, Brett also brought forward the argument that during the time period of the previous fight, Alex had been fighting constantly, which could have led to a natural burnout, causing him to lose the matchup.
I think it has the potential to look very different. There are rumors in terms of how locked in he was ahead of the first one, but I think even if you push aside those rumors and let's assume that he was as good as he could be given any kind of circumstances, he was still fighting so frequently. Ankalaev, we just see this with every champion. Again, set aside everything that you're hearing on the side, which I think that there is some truth to and some merit to, but even just you see this with champions, especially active champions like he was running through the gauntlet and just taking on all of these things onto his plate, headlining UFC 300, stepping in for Conor McGregor. There is a burnout factor. There is always a burnout factor. And it doesn't matter if you come from a kickboxing background where you're used to fighting every 2 weeks, eventually it comes for you, especially because of the media. And this guy had kind of blown up in terms of star power, especially over the year that he had with the things I just mentioned.
Additionally, Brett also pointed out how Alex Pereira had the tendency to fight his matches with several injuries, adding the fact that the match between Alex and Magomed was also fought while the fighter was wounded. Commenting on the feud between the two contenders, Brett noticed how annoyed Pereira seemed to be with Magomed and claimed that this time around, the circumstances of the fight are different. So there is a chance the result of this fight might differ from the previous one.
Human to think that it wasn't coming, especially the fact that he was fighting injured all the time. And now he's kind of confirmed that he was injured on the first one, and it's just you have had a break now. I'm with you. I think that the Google Translate beef, if you're having to go there and say, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like, what are we doing? It feels a little forced, a little bit. But I will say, I feel like I've become kind of a reader of body language and animosity and whether something is real or not. I think Alex Pereira is annoyed with Ankalaev. I think he is motivated. He does look like a guy who really would like to win a fight this weekend. So I'm expecting the fight to be a little different just in terms of Pereira's performance, whether or not we see a different result. Obviously that's why we tune in, but I do think he'll be a little bit better version than he was last time because it just, the circumstances, black and white. It wasn't great circumstances for him last time.
On the other hand, Jed Meshew is of the opinion that the rematch between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev should not have occurred in the first place, proving to be a waste of time. According to Jed, what Alex should have actually done was to move up in weight classes and fight someone else to regain his legacy. Now, if Alex wins against Magomed, he would still have to find another contender to go against, but if he loses, he would yet again be forced to stay where he already is, or maybe even lose more of his legacy.
Where does it put him in your opinion?
I think this fight is stupid, and I've made no bones about that. I think this fight is very silly for the simple reason that I do not think a win or a loss matters at all. Because if he wins, we can do Carlos Ulberg versus Alex Pereira. Why are we doing that? Who is like that excited? Just, he lost and he should have immediately moved up to heavyweight. The same as when he lost to Izzy and he moved up to light heavyweight. Like, that doesn't mean he has to go up and fight Tom. He could have gone up and fought Derek Lewis, and the same way he went up and fought Jan Blachowicz, right? Like, if he wins and then fights Carlos Ulberg, that feels like a massive waste to me of like, what are we doing here? And if he loses, then he should absolutely move up. So why are we doing this at all? Like, that is outside of him wanting to do this because he thinks he shouldn't have lost which is like, okay.
Meanwhile, Lucas Tracy echoed the same views as most of the other experts had, that Alex Pereira might not win the rematch as easily as he may think. According to Lucy, while it is true that Alex was not able to give his previous matchup full attention, having had his plate full with other commitments and issues, it cannot be denied that older fighters usually don't win the rematch. As Lucas pointed out, Alex is a 38-year-old going against someone in his prime as a 32-year-old, which makes the odds slightly more in favor of Magomed.
I think Ankalaev is going to win this. I think that's the right pick. You got to pick Ankalaev in this one. There's a decent argument to be made for Pereira, given that he was traveling all over the world and just did not have a very focused training camp for that last fight. But listen, man, it's very rare that the much older fighter wins the rematch. Pereira is 38 years old. I believe Magomed's only 32. It's very rare that the older guy is going to win a rematch in this circumstance. And I think Magomed's going to be very confident after outstriking Alex Pereira in the first fight, even though it was very close. All right, I'm not going to sit there and act like it was a domination. It was extremely competitive. And I don't think people give Pereira enough credit for how competitive it was in the 5th and in the 3rd round. He got dominated in the 2nd with the boxing, but that was the only truly dominant round in the stand-up, at least for Magomed.
Furthermore, Dan Hardy, going against the general views of the experts, actually believes that this time around, we will be able to get a different, fresher version of Alex Pereira. According to Dan, the last time Pereira had difficulty understanding his opponent and his style, but this time, we would be able to witness the threatening aura of Alex once again, as he would confidently walk across the ring to regain his legacy.
No, I think it's a very different fight this time around. I think a little bit like, obviously not in the same capacity, but a little bit like Dominic Reyes. He just kind of looks a bit flat, and not that he was intimidated to open up, but he kind of couldn't get started. Ankalaev was always kind of, he's a bit awkward and he's kind of on the front foot, and it was Pereira was waiting for him to open up to see what he was going to do. It wasn't the confident Pereira that we see, kind of walk forward and bully people. And I think that's going to be the version that we'll get this time around. The other thing I will say, Ankalaev, we've seen him a couple of times at the PI. He's working with some monstrous fighters. I mean, he really has. He's brought in some big boys to work with. So I think he's going to be trying to push the pace as well. And I expect more grappling from Ankalaev. But I think it's going to be quite an explosive fight this time around.
Further expanding on his views, Dan claimed that this time around, Alex Pereira needs to give it his all and disarm his opponent with efficiency in order to gain victory, which he might be able to accomplish. According to Dan Hardy, when Alex Pereira gets in the zone of taking the win, there is nothing and no one that could stop him. This version we couldn't see during the last match, but this time the game would be different.
Offensively defend takedowns, build frames, stay on the front foot, utilize his knees to the body, and really try and get him out of there. the scariest version of Alex Pereira is the one that gets in there to try and murder you. And he didn't look like that against Ankalaev the last time. And I think if he can get that back, which I certainly think he has this time, it's a different version.
And speaking of UFC 320, there is another fight card that has been catching the attention of the UFC world as the experts predict what the fate of those fighters would be, and that is Merab Dvalishvili versus Corey Sandhagen. And according to Dan Hardy, the fight between these two fighters could take two routes. Either Merab would be able to dominate against his opponent, taking down Corey through overwhelming him, or Corey would be able to find a fault in the style of his opponent, earning the win to his name.
You know, this fight's going to go one of two ways, and that's, I guess that sounds a bit, you know, people say that a bit too much, but either Merab is just going to overwhelm him. He's just going to steam engine forward and just be able to keep going to the point where Corey can't really get in, you know, just like talking over him in a conversation. Or Corey at some point in that process is going to find a mistake in Merab's patterns, and he's going to make him pay for it.
Additionally, Merab Dvalishvili shared his own plans for the fight, laying out the way he wanted the matchup to proceed. According to Merab, the last time he ended his fight in 3 rounds, he felt that he could have achieved more. Keeping that in mind, this time the fighter has decided to enjoy his 5 rounds in peace, knocking down his opponent at the end of the 5th round. That way, the fighter argued, he can make his resume a bit more colorful.
No, I want to enjoy. You know, last time when I finished Sean O'Malley in 3 rounds, I was missing something. I want a more takedown, you know, I want more records on my resume, and I want a more punch. And when I finished, I was missing something, you know. And I want now, this time I'm gonna enjoy whole fights. Hopefully, you know, listen, if happens first round, it's okay, I'll take it. But I mean, ideal will be enjoy all 5 minutes, all five rounds, and then end of the 5th round, finish him.
Adding to that, Merab shared that he is not intimidated by anything that his opponent says, claiming that he would expect Corey to be the same top-level fighting champion that he has always proved himself to be. While revealing the fact that Corey wants to break his bones and plans to annihilate the fighter, Merab made it clear that he would be willing to face any challenge necessary to protect his belt and title and to retain the legacy that he has worked so hard to build.
That's good, you know, that's I'm expecting same top Corey Sandhagen. Of course, I know he has a good cardio, and then he's good. That's why when I know that I have a top opponent, I always bring the best, and we will see. You know, yeah, like he's a good guy, but like sometimes, you know, he's a fighter, and then he wants. Yeah, of course, he's talking sometimes smack, sometimes, you know, whatever. Sometimes maybe I do too, and then. Yeah, one thing for sure, he wants my belt, and he wants to knock me out, or he wants to break my knee and arms too, and then I make sure I'm not gonna let him do that, because he's my enemy now, and this belt means a lot for me, and I'm not planning to give.
On the other hand, 2 more fighters prepare themselves to go against each other in the ring in the UFC 320 card, those being Khalil Roundtree and Jiri Prochazka. While discussing the upcoming fight, Khalil claimed that it would be an interesting matchup for the fans watching, while for the fighters it would be a deadly war. Khalil even pointed out his wish to end the fight in such a way that the whole world stands shocked by his abilities as a fighter.
I have to go, and I've never really seen this puzzle in person, and I've got to go crack it. And if and when I do, it's going to be very interesting to watch from a fighter, you know, from a fan perspective. People who enjoy the strategy and fighting and stuff like that, like, yeah, I think the fans will enjoy it. The 2 guys in there, we're going to feel the pain. We got to feel it. There's excitement behind it. There's good feelings behind it. But at the end of the day, like, being in that experience and actually cracking the puzzle, it'll feel good to get the job done and to see it all come together. The statement I need to make is that it should look like this. This guy absolutely deserves the #1 contender spot. Are you crazy? Like, did you just see that performance against Prochazka? Absolutely this guy undeniable, you know what I mean?
Meanwhile, while discussing the recent weight that Alex Pereira had shared with the world, Michael Bisping pointed out that there's no way the fighter is actually 234 pounds prior to the fight. According to Michael, Alex is known to be the type of fighter who plays mind games with his opponents, so sharing the fact that he weighs more before the fight might end up giving Magomed a sense of security, which is exactly what Alex wants. That is so Magomed would let down his guard, and Alex would then go for the kill.
You got to remember, Alex Pereira is a bit of a troll. And he takes hits online, right? We all have to eat, you know, and you drink a lot of water, you will get heavy, right? Water fluctuation in your body is like your weight can fluctuate like crazy every single day, depending on what you ingested the day before. I guarantee that video was at the end of the day. I guarantee he's just had his dinner. I guarantee for the sake of the video, he's probably just downed almost a gallon of water, step on the scale, look at this, guys, to get everyone talking, you know, because we saw that video, well, we'll show it in a minute, of him pranking Renato Moicano. He's not above, you know, a little bit of, mind games, fun and games, enjoying himself leading up to the weigh-in. So I don't think he is 234. I think that's just him trying to give Magomed Ankalaev some kind of false sense of security or something like that, but yeah, I don't believe that for a second.
In the end, while each fighter tried to bring their A game to the fight, it goes without saying that only one would be able to prove themselves worthy of the title of a champion. Alex Pereira seems to have stepped up his game, while Magomed Ankalaev also stands confident in his ability to once again defeat his opponent. Who will be proven right? That can only be revealed on the 4th of October, 2025. What do you think? Are we going to witness the return of Alex Pereira, or has the fighter long ago surpassed his prime? Should Alex have opted for another fight instead of taking up the rematch against Magomed once again? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay tuned for more updates. See you soon!